Honorable members, before we proceed, I wish to announce that Ms. PCP Majodina has been appointed Chief Whip of the Majority Party, and Ms. D.E. Dlakude appointed as Deputy Chief Whip of the Majority Party. I also wish to announce that Mr. J.H. Steenhuisen has been appointed as Chief Whip of the Opposition. I have been informed by the Democratic Alliance that Mr. M.A. Maimani is the parliamentary leader of the party, and that, therefore, the leader of the opposition in terms of the Constitution. The President has informed me that he has appointed the Deputy President as leader of government business in the National Assembly in terms of Section 91(4) of the Constitution. And lastly, that Dr. G.W. Kurenov has, in terms of Rule 34, been designated Parliamentary Counselor to the President. Honorable members, I further wish to indicate that the details of the members who filled in the vacancies and took oath and affirmation after the first sitting of the House have been published in the ATC. We can now proceed with the first motion on the order paper in the name of the Chief Whip of the Majority Party.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker, Deputy Speaker, all leaders of parties present here, honorable members. Honorable Speaker, I rise that the House revives the Appropriation Bill of the National Assembly in Section 77 and resumes proceedings of the bill from the stage it reached on the last day of the 6th session of the 5th Parliament, taking into account the provisions of the Money Bills Amendment Procedure and Related Matters Act. I so move.
Thank you. I put the motion. Are there any objections? No? If there is no objection, then the motion is carried. Can I ask the Chief Whip to read the second motion on the order paper, please?
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I move that the House, in terms of Rule 22, elects the following members as the House Chairpersons. Honorable Member Mr. C.T. Frolick, Honorable Member Ms. M.G. Buroto, and Honorable Member Mr. M.L.D. Ntombela. I so move.
I put the motion. Is there any objection to the motion?
Madam Speaker,
Honorable
the
Steenhuisen.
Democratic Alliance would like to move an amendment to the motion, and it would read as follows, that it just changes the sequence of the names, that the name of the Honourable Lottreat is substituted for Honourable Frolick.
Honorable members, can I just remind the House that any proposed amendment to the draft resolutions before the House are regulated in terms of Rule 121, that a member may propose an amendment in writing to a draft resolution if the amendment does not extend the scope of the draft resolution, that a signed copy of the amendment must be delivered to the Secretary at the table, that the table will assess if the amendment is procedurally in order and advise accordingly, that all proposed amendments that are considered are compliant and will be put up for the decision in sequence with the last proposal being put the first. That the original motion will be put last with or without the amendments as the case may be. Honorable members, is there any further amendments to the motion as put by the Chief Whip of the Majority Party? Have we received the amendment from Honorable Steenhuisen? It is coming.
On a point of order, Madam Speaker.
On a point of order, sir, whilst we're waiting.
Madam Speaker, I would want to believe that procedurally the motion, the order paper was published before we came here, and the amendment could actually have been tabled before the start of the session, and we could not wait for him to do a missive and a handwriting there because it doesn't appear to be procedurally compliant with the rule. Can you please make a ruling in that regard, Madam Speaker?
Honorable Gadi, unfortunately, Rule 121 does say the things I read into the record, that if there is any other amendment, that it must be handed over here to the table, so they are accommodated.
Madam Speaker,
Yes,
may I also just,
Honourable Member.
may I just also make the point, because obviously the Honourable Gadi wasn't at the programming committee meeting this morning, but the order paper was provided to us this morning at programming.
Honourable Steenhuisen, that was not a point of order.
No, it is a point of order because the order paper was only provided to us this morning and prior to party caucuses, and party caucuses made a decision to give us direction on this matter.
Honourable members, even if it wasn't, or even if it was provided, Rule 121 does give them, and I have ruled on this matter. Honourable member. Honourable members, from what we have in front of us, the motion is in order. The motion is the same as the one that the Honourable Chief Whip of the Majority Party proposes at the beginning, except that on the second line, that it proposes that the name of the Honourable Frolic is replaced by the name of the Honourable A. Lotrit. So the motion is in order. To proceed, honourable members, I shall first start with putting the amendment to the motion to the vote. Those who support the motion that the Honourable Lotrit be put in the motion as a House Chair.
Honourable Speaker.
Honourable Singh.
Yeah, I just want to know if the bells are not going to ring, if we're putting a motion for vote.
That time will come. We have. Honourable members, I now put the motion as proposed by the Honourable Steenhuisen for you. Those who say aye, who are in favour, say aye. Aye. Those who are against say no. Honorable members, I think the noes have it. Honorable Julius?
Thank you, Madam Speaker. The DA calls for a division.
There is a call for a division. The bells will be rung for 5 minutes. Order, members. Please take your seats. Please take your seats. Honorable members, you are reminded that you may only vote from your allocated seats. When requested to do so, members must simply indicate their votes by pressing the appropriate button below the yes, the no, or the abstain signs. If a member inadvertently presses the wrong button, the member may thereafter press the correct button. The last button pressed will be recorded as the member's vote when the voting session is closed by the chair. The question before the House is that the amendment to the motion on the ordered paper, as moved by Honorable Steenhuisen, be agreed to. Are all the members in their allocated seats? Are all the members in their allocated seats? Thank you very much. Voting will then commence. Those in favor of the amendment should press the yes button. Those who are against must press the no button. Those wishing to abstain must press the abstain button. Have all the members voted? Thank you. The voting session is closed. Thank you very much. Honorable members, the result of the division is as follows. The yes, 83, the noes, 205, those who abstained, 15. Therefore, the amendment is not agreed to.
Madam Speaker.
Honorable Steenhuisen.
Madam Speaker, in terms of Rule 108 of the National Assembly rules, the DA requests to make a declaration.
A declaration on the vote we have just taken, or a declaration on something else, Honorable Steenhuisen?
Madam Speaker, it says that the presiding officer may at any time after a question has been fully put, if so requested, permit one member of each political party to declare its vote by stating on behalf of his party the reason why his party is in favour or not of the decision.
Oh, Honorable Steenhuisen, the way I understand the process is that before the vote, you can make the declaration of your vote.
Madam Speaker, the rule is specific. It says the presiding officer may, and this is the important part, at any time after a question has been fully put. The question has now been fully put. We've had the division. This is the appropriate time.
Honorable Dlakude.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. I've listened carefully to Honorable Steenhuisen. When he read that rule, he said the presiding officer may. There is no must there. I thank you.
Honorable Shibambu.
So, Honorable Speaker, in terms of the acceptable process is that when a question has been put, you can ask for a declaration, not when a vote has been cast on the vote. So let us not unnecessarily waste time. We do not agree with Frolik, but it's an ANC process. There's no sound rules basis to could grant a declaration now. So let us proceed to the next item so that we can finish on time. We must go home.
Madam Speaker,
Honorable Steenhuisen.
this will be a major departure from the precedent that's been followed, certainly in all the parliaments that I've been a part of, where a declaration is requested in terms of the rules, which says very clearly after the question has been fully put, the question has now been fully put, we would like to make the declaration. It would be a massive departure from practice if such a declaration was not allowed.
Honourable Speaker.
Honorable Mulder.
Honourable Speaker, may I address you on this point?
Yes, sir.
The fact of the matter is that the rules make provision that it's absolutely in the discretion of the Speaker to decide yes or no. The Speaker may or may not. So that's technically correct. What I would like to ask the Honourable Speaker, it's quite clear that the official opposition would like to motivate why they did what they did. And I would urge the Honourable Speaker to allow that because some of us would also like to react to what just happened in the House. But it's your discretion, Madam Speaker. You decide if you want to allow it or not.
Honorable members, may I rule on the matter? The Honorable Steenhuisen. No. Honorable Steenhuisen proposed an amendment to the motion. That amendment was put, the question was put to the House. The usual practice is that before you vote, I will not, presiding here, be interrupted by interjections by people who refuse to listen. Honorable members, before a question is usually voted in, members have the right to declare their motions. This rule says I may. It gives me the discretion. I tend to use my discretion on this one for a simple reason. The simple reason is that the amendment to the motion has to do with the first motion as put by the Chief Whip of the majority on the motion. I wish to suggest to this House that if you wish to make your declaration, you may still make your declaration in the motion as put by the Chief Whip of the majority party, because it is about the same thing. The amendment from Honorable Steenhuisen was about the removal of one name and the substitution of that name by a name of his choice and his party's choice. This is my ruling. I then want to proceed and put the motion as it appears on the order paper. Are there any objections?
May I make a declaration in terms of Rule 108, Madam Speaker?
Yes, you may make your declaration.
Madam Speaker, thank you very much. And at the heart of this issue today lies a very important principle of multi-partyism. Those who do not learn from history are doomed to repeat history. During the course of the 5th Parliament, the Chief Whips Forum conducted an extended tour to both Ghana and to the United Kingdom. It was a multi-party delegation and was...
You are protected, sir. Please proceed. Order, members. You are protected, Honourable.
Thought someone was breaking out into beat it there. And one of the learning lessons from that study tour, and it was captured in the report that was actually tabled here in this Parliament, was the fact that it was encouraged in both parliaments that there are presiding officers and chairpersons from a variety of parties in those parliaments and houses, because this gives more credibility to the presidium of the particular house. It was one of the key lessons which came away from that particular study tour. Now, there's no use us going on these study tours to learn things, to bring them back, to put reports here in the House if we're not prepared to learn from them. And so here would have been a perfect opportunity for this Parliament to signal that it actually takes the Constitution seriously, where it talks about ensuring that minority parties represented in the House have adequate representation or are able to participate in the affairs of the House. Neither is it without precedent, because it was only the 5th Parliament out of all of our parliaments that did not have a presiding officer from the opposition. It's the only part. It was an outlier in the democratic parliaments of South Africa. I think it was a bad practice. I think it led to a lot of breakdown in the House, because the presiding officer's authority had no particular credibility in many instances, because people felt that they were being victimized politically. Parties felt like their agendas were being suppressed because there was a political agenda. And it led to an unhealthy situation in the House where there actually ended up being a remarkable undermining of the presiding officers in this particular House. I therefore think it would have been a healthy return to the post-democratic convention in South Africa for us to have had a presiding officer from one of the opposition parties. Now, we happen to be the official opposition, and we would have liked to have the opportunity to have one of the House chairs, but obviously it could have come from any one of them had the ANC had the courage to be able to be bigger than narrow partisan party interests and put this People's Parliament, not the ANC Parliament, not the Lutuli House Parliament, not the Magashule faction Parliament, the People's Parliament. It would have had other parties that also represent the people. Every single one of us got into this Parliament on exactly the same number of votes from people voting for our political parties. And so I think it is a sad day for this Parliament that this is the case. That being said, I also think, and it certainly was the view of our caucus meeting this morning, that given the events of Bosasa, given the unanswered questions that remain, that in the interests of the House, it would be better to have a presiding officer who didn't have these questions hanging over their head. And that is why the impeccable Honourable Lotreet, who has a very proud record of service in this Parliament, who has served on the constitutional... No, I won't sit down. And I'll tell you why I won't sit down. Because you didn't send me here. Your voters didn't send me here. I was sent here not to sit down. I was sent here to stand up. And I will never sit down. I will never sit down for you. And you can grow old trying, it'll never happen. So you keep it up, I'll keep standing, you keep sitting that side of the House. Because that's what we had to do. We had to stand up for the people of South Africa that you've forgotten. So don't tell me to sit down. I think that it will be in the interests of this Parliament that we start to have a multi-party culture re-established here. And this extends not only to House chairs, it extends to the chairpersons of committees as well. There's no reason there can't be an EFF chairman of a committee, a DA chairman of a committee, if we're truly committed to putting the people of South Africa first and putting this institution
Thank you, Honourable Stenezen. The Honourable Dr. Mulder.
Honourable Speaker, it's good to hear that my colleague wants to stand up. If I remember correctly, it was our party in the election that said we're going to fight back and stand up against what's happening. But be that as it may, technically speaking, the Honourable Chief Whip of the Opposition is correct, technically speaking, because we've had the precedents in the first, second, third and fourth Parliament that we accommodated also other voices from opposition parties when it comes to presiding officers. We did do that. It was only in the 5th Parliament that we moved away from that precedent and where the ruling party decided to obtain all the seats. Technically, the Chief Whip of the Opposition is correct in saying that that's not a good practice, and he's correct when he says that when we went to Ghana and the United Kingdom, we saw there that other parties are accommodated in that process. And the fact is, today it's not going to happen because the resolution will be passed by the majority party, appointing 3 members from the ruling party. That places a huge responsibility on those 3 presiding officers to act in such an impartial manner that they convince Parliament and South Africans watching that there are indeed impartial referees in this chamber. That they are not there at the behest of the ruling party, but they are acting in the interest of all members of Parliament. Although this is technically correct, I've got another problem. What happened just now is a very dangerous precedent. Why? We've got other structures in this House, and one of them is the Chief Whip's Forum. And yesterday, these matters were discussed at the Chief Whip's Forum, and that's why they are on the order paper, and we reached consensus amongst all the parties that these are the names that we are going to propose to the House today. Now, the problem is this. It's not for parties to say that I want this or that person and then it happens automatically. The House takes a decision today in terms of these appointments. Now, with all due respect to my colleagues in the official opposition, we've got 3, 4 more motions to come where the House is going to take a decision. And in each of those nominations, I see members from the opposition. Technically speaking, the House could decide that we change those names. We could do that. And the only reason would be because we did not keep to what we agreed upon yesterday. I would urge the House not to do so. But I want to say to my colleagues, you've set a very difficult and dangerous precedent today where the ruling party with its majority can decide on behalf of all of us. Don't do that.
Thank you, sir. Honorable Nkwangwa.
Mamelan Tohwan, Maskale Stakisen, Dubenye, EUDM, Ifun Skundla. I zangzo tetelba Ifunbangu House Chair and all of that nonsense and so on. And always been as a pigisani tinana led by Nikumbu Frolika, Yakubum Clevers, and so Gagana Nayap. Ibang Basimek Linda, Windoba, Unyansile, U John, Honorable Steenhuisen. Ukuti lomba inyanisela pa kwa UDM leto benga vota abantu bafuna ukuxoki. Now apia khona intoba inyaniso intoba lento sasiyidiscussile kwesa study tour se Chief Whips. And in principle there was agreement ukuthi it's something that would need to explore. Ima nithetha into engayaziyo. Okwesibini ithetha ukuthi as reports classes sizithetha adopter apa sithetha nje nobenane singena intentions of implementer in future, then masingayi kwezi study tour because siyadlalisa, right? And Honorable Steenhuisen uyiraisile lento ku Chief Whip's Forum. I think uyaphazama Honorable Corneille, and I was one of the people who supported him to say it's one of the issues we discussed last year. And it's one of the resolutions we thought we were going to take forward to the 6th Democratic Parliament. Unfortunately, that has not happened. The issue here is about improving and increasing the credibility of Parliament so that ingabi us against them, kutu hayi le Parliament, the institution ye African National Congress, kuba iyalawula. Ndake ndayibona ke lento isenzeka ngaphambili. Nishautisa nje naningekho. Ndake ndayibona lento isenzeka ngaphambili kuba omnye House Chair wayesuka kwiNkatha Freedom Party in the past. Imoshwe ngumsholozi lento. Nangona inasensitive, you work with everyone. Nikota amagama ethu apha as party leaders, uPresident Ramaphosa xa deliver sona, but ngoxa ufuna siyimplemente lanto asiyenzi. Masiyilungiseni maqabani qhubani nodwa ngoku zezeni review at a later stage. Izawunixaka nizawuthi xa nisohlulwa futhi ukukhokela izinto naxa nibethwa apho naphinde nibethwe ile opposition iphinde nibhekabheke nijonge ukuthi sabe singekho amasela.
Honorable Nkwangwa.
Honorable Speaker.
Honorable Nkwangwa. Honorable Nkwangwa, I'm not sure who you are referring to as Amasela.
No one, House Speaker.
It is definitely not members of this House.
No,
Am I
definitely
correct?
not. No, you're quite correct.
I'm correct.
You're quite
So,
correct.
La Masela, we will take it that you are referring to them in your imagination.
No, correct.
Thank you very much, sir.
I'm much obliged to you.
Yabong. The Honorable Dlakude.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Honorable Dlakude, I'm told, can I get your point?
I want to make a declaration, Speaker, and I can make a declaration from here.
You can.
Yeah, there is no need.
Honorable Dlakude, do you mind letting the Honorable Shibambo take precedence?
Look,
you.
we think that there's a lot of extremely incompetent appointees of the ANC into committee chairpersons and presiding officers, including a deputy speaker who is extremely incompetent and mediocre. But we have won elections. Do whatever we want to do. We'll meet in 2024. We'll present our perspective to the electorate in terms of what should happen. So I honestly think that let's accept the electoral outcome. We have accepted that. And we must not try to impose ourselves through other means and everything. We have won elections. Let's go on. And then we'll oppose each other in committees and take it from there. Sure.
Thank you, sir. The Honorable Dlakude.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Let me take the opportunity to thank the Honorable Shibambo and Honorable Melda, because Honorable Melda, you alluded to what we discussed in the Chief Whips Forum. So, Honorable Speaker, yes, we undertook a study tour last year. Yes, we debated the report of the study tour towards the end of the 5th Parliament. And nothing has been implemented as yet. Study tour is just a study tour. We will take what will work for us, because we didn't go on a study tour in South Africa, went to other countries. So their systems of elections might not be the same as ours. So we will take what works for us and leave other things. So yes, we understand that we are a multi-party parliament. Yes, we allow participation of all parties. But the fact of the matter is that go out there and win the elections. The majority of South Africans gave the ANC the mandate to lead this country. So we are not going to outsource power, because if you do that, it will create a problem for the ANC. Yes, in the ANC, decisions are not taken by individuals, but in the ANC, we lead and take decisions collectively. So
Honorable Speaker,
because the ANC is
Honorable
not
Speaker,
running as Spaza shop,
Honorable
like the
Dlakude,
DA is.
Honorable Dlakude, please take your seat. Honorable Van Dam.
Can I ask the Deputy Chief Whip of the ANC whether she understands the difference between a majoritarian parliament and a participatory democracy? Does she understand the difference?
Honorable Van Dam, she is not going to take a question during a declaration on the vote. Please proceed, ma'am.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Yes, we note the point of the DA, but we don't agree with what the Chief Whip of the DA is saying. Also, in the previous parliament, yes, we had a presiding officer from the opposition party, especially the IFP. But in the 5th Parliament, we had the very same arrangement that we are having, that the ANC won the elections and the ANC decide to have presiding officers amongst its own. So didn't we have a smooth running parliament then? Coming to the question of the honorable member, Honorable Speaker, I just want to tell the honorable member that if she take me out for a drink in the bar, unfortunately that bar is closed now and I don't drink. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Honorable members, is there any other party that wishes to make a declaration of their vote? No? If that is the case, I now put the question. And the question is that those who are in favor of the motion as it appears on the order paper will vote. Those who are in favor will say yes, aye, and those who are against will say no. I think the ayes have it. They do. Honorable members, the motion we are dealing with, we had a motion and amendment to the motion. The amendment to the motion is the one that was put by Honorable Steenhuisen. You have voted on that one. Then we go to the motion as it appears on the order paper. And that is the motion as put by the Chief Whip of the majority party. That is what we are voting on. Are we together? Yes. So do I take this vote again? No. I now put the question, and the question is that the motion as it appears on the order paper by the Chief Whip of the majority party be agreed to. Those who are against, I think the yes has it. Since there is no call for any division, the motion has been agreed to. Honorable members, if we can proceed. The motion has been agreed to. I wish to congratulate the members who have just been appointed, and I will in due course make the announcement in the ATC about the specific responsibilities of each House Chair who has just been elected by the House. Can we move on to the third motion on the order paper?
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. I move on behalf of the ANC that the House elects the following members to represent Parliament in the Pan-African Parliament in terms of Article 4, subsection 2 and subsection 3 of the Protocol to the Treaty establishing the African Economic Community relating to the Pan-African Parliament.
Thank you, ma'am. Is there any objection to this motion?
The names, Honorable Speaker. 1 is Ms. T.R. Modise, Speaker of the National Assembly. 2, Mr. N.A. Masondo, Chairperson of the National Council of Provinces. 3, Ms. P.C.P. Majodina, ANC. 4, Mr. T.R. Majola, DA. 5, Mr. J.S. Malima, EFF. I so move.
I now put the question. Those in favor say aye. Those who are against say no. I think the ayes have it. order, members. There are no objections, therefore the motion has been agreed to. Honorable members, I put the fourth motion on the order paper in the name of the Chief Whip.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I rise to move the following members to represent Parliament in the South African Development Community Parliamentary Forum in terms of Article 6, subsection 3 of the Constitution of the Forum. The names are Ms. T.R. Mudise, Speaker of the National Assembly, Mr. D.L. Muela, Member of the ANC, Mr. T.B. Matibe from the African National Congress, Mr. D. Beckman from DA, Ms. H.O. Mkalipi from EFF, and the chairperson of the multi-party Women's Caucus, the name which will be confirmed after the election of that chairperson. I so move, Honorable Speaker.
Thank you, ma'am. Are there any objections? There are no objections. Therefore, the motion has been agreed to. The fifth motion of the order paper is also in the name of the Chief Whip of the Majority Party.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I move that the House designates the following members to the Judicial Service Commission in terms of Section 178, subsection 1 and subsection H of the Constitution of Republic of South Africa, Act 108 of 1996. The names are as follow: Ms. T.R. Mudise, the Speaker of the National Assembly, Mr. G. Makwanishe from the ANC, Mr. V.C. Klaba from ANC, the Advocate G. Breitenbach from DA, Mr. J.S. Malima from EFF, and Mr. Sin from IFP. I so move.
Are there any objections? Honorable Shibambo.
Honorable Speaker, you will realize when you have to sit in the Pan-African Parliament and the SADC PF and the JSC that it's not practical in terms of scheduling. You won't be able to sit in the 3 deployments and still be the Speaker of the National Assembly. It's like whatever happens, it will not happen. You're going to compromise either of the 4 major responsibilities. I think that the ANC caucus must have to look into it in terms of scheduling. But we can vote on it now, but later on, we must then deal with it in a different way. I think that is one thing you must have to look into closely.
Honorable Dlakude.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. We take note of what Honorable Shibambo is saying, and we are aware of what it means for having the Speaker in this forum. So we will attend to it as the ANC. Thank you so much.
Madam Speaker.
Honorable Steenhuisen.
Madam Speaker, in terms of Rule 85, I think it's a reflection on your ability to be a multitasker. But also for the sake of consistency, this is a thing about the EFF. They came here just now and said, you won the election, you must put up whoever you want. And now they're got a different view. You know, it's Praveen one day, it's Praveen not the next day. Busisiwe Mkhwebane one day, no Busisiwe Mkhwebane the other day.
Honorable
Speaker one day, no Speaker one day. It's hard to
No,
follow.
honorable members, can I close this matter? Honorable members, can I close this matter? Indeed, this matter, almost raised in the same way Honorable Shibambo has been raised by yours truly, and it is under the discussion. So the ANC will come back on this matter. Other than the point raised by the Honorable Shibambo, is there any objection to this motion? No objection. The motion has been agreed to. The 6th and the last motion on the order paper is also in the name of the Chief Whip of the Majority Party.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I move to this Honorable House that it designates the following members to serve in the Magistrate Commission in terms of Section 3, Subsection 1, Subsection AX of the Magistrate Act 90 of 1993. The names are as follow: Ms. D.E. Dlagute from the ANC, Mr. Q.R. Gyanki from the ANC, Mr. W. Horn from DA, and Mr. G.A. Gadi from EFF. I so move, Chair.
Honorable members, is there any objection to this motion? No objection. The motion is agreed to. Honorable members, that concludes the business of the day. This House is adjourned.